Greetings. Welcome to the inevitable return to Butta, building unity to teach another. I'm Critical,
I'm Gweezy Butta.
and this is the inevitable return.
Let's talk about critical erase theory today, not tomorrow, is the title.
Yes. Critical erase theory. That is something that we came up with because CRT, critical race theory, was a big controversy that came up pertaining to how the teachers are to teach children in the schools about history and our relationship in America, and how the difference between the privileged and the common. Well, it became a big stink in Texas. It really became a big problem because Paxton, the mayor, and a whole bunch of the Republicans, they got upset because they have a fear that it will make their children feel guilty, and they have to answer the questions about a lot of the lies that were told, a lot of the misinformation through the education system. So you had several of them, man, that's fighting against it. They don't want the teachers to even talk about race and the relationship of black people in America and the systemic racism that exists in these different systems, starting with the education, and then to going all the way to just how you learn about yourself. You know, because like when I came up in school, man, in elementary and all that, the only time that we were mentioned, I noticed it was kind of odd that anytime we were mentioned, they started off from Abraham Lincoln signing the Emancipation Proclamation. So as to say that we didn't exist or we had no type of intellectual capabilities, no type of nothing until after we were emancipated. So when they came up with the critical race theory, they're fighting it. And they're upset. They don't like it. But this one sister did she did an experiment. It was called a privileged experiment. She started everybody off the same line.
What was her name?
I have to find her name, man. I had it.
You said. Okay, so the critical erase theory is the same as the critical race theory, correct?
No, it is the flip side of the race theory. See, the critical race theory is teaching it, and we use erase theory because
we don't want nobody to understand what's going on or what went on, right?
Right. They don't want nobody to know the truth of it. So that's why the history was erased.
Oh, okay, I got you.
You see, our whole history was based upon the concepts they gave us and they teach us about in February. Okay.
Gotcha.
The same stories, you know, you only learn about Martin Luther King, you know, Malcolm X, you know, the common names that we generally talk about, but they never go back to like Musa, Hotep. You follow what I'm saying? That is real history of us.
Musa?
Musa.
Spell that.
M-A-N-S-A. And Musa is M-U-S-A.
Oh, so Mansa Musa?
Mm-hmm.
So, Mansa Musa is like a mountain as well, correct?
I'm not sure if it's a mountain, man. I know.
So you say M-A-N-A-S-L-U? No. That's not.
No. M-A-N-S-A. Mansa Musa. He's king.
S-A.
Mm-hmm.
M-A-N-S-A. Okay, I got it right here. It's a king.
He was a king, yes.
Okay, Mansa Musa.
Yeah.
was the ninth Mansa Musa of the Mali Empire, which reached its territorial peak during the regime. Mansa is known for his wealth and generosity. Yeah, that part. Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah. You don't talk about Hotep. You know, they want us to learn Greek and French and all this stuff, but why not Swahili? Why not, some of those languages from the motherland? Right. What is wrong? So this is the situation we have. If we do not teach our children the truth, then what's going to happen? They're going to continue to hate themselves. They're going to continue to accept the titles that are given to them that sells for them. They have a couple of bills that the 1619 Project, and they claim it distorts history. The 1619 Project.
The 1619 Project?
Yeah.
What is the 1619 Project? Where did it come from?
That is what they turned into the critical race theory.
Okay, pause right there for a second. Mansa Musa, just because I know a lot of, if any youngsters listen to this, I know they like to, hear about people that's stunning who had a lot of money, because that's where we came from. I mean, well, that's where we at with the, kind of like people showing their money and all of that stuff. So if you want to trip off somebody who was balling, Mansa Musa really was balling. His wealth and generosity, he has been subject to a popular claim that he is the wealthiest person in history, but his actual wealth is known with any certainty. His riches came from mining of significant gold and salt deposits in the Maui Empire, along with the slave and ivory trade. So I guess he got rich off of gold and salt. And I guess ivory too. I guess ivory come from elephants or something. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess So at the time, Musa, when he made it to the throne, Mali in a large part consists of the theory of the former Ghana Empire, which Mali had conquered. The Mali Empire consists of land that is now part of. I don't know how to pronounce none of these words, but yeah, that part. Let's go, man. Let's keep going. He was a baller, man. He was balling back in the day, y'all. So I know y'all want to hear that. Let's let Unc finish talking the real good. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, like the 1619 Project.
1619 Project.
Yeah, is a new origin story. It's a 2021 anthology of essays and poetry.
Huh.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, it got a lot. It was written by a sister named Nicole Sherry Hannah Jones.
In August 2019.
This is the 1619 Project.
Right. They say somebody published the New York Times in August 2019, as I read on Wikipedia. That's not okay. Mm-hmm. The lady you say her name was it Hannah Jones?
Nicole Sherry Hannah.
Yeah,
and then
Nicole Hanny Jones. Nicole Cheryl Hannah Jones is an American investigative journalist known for her coverage of civil rights in the United States. In April 2015, she became a staff writer for the New York Times. In 2017, she wrote was awarded a MacArthur Fellowship. In 2020, she won a couple of things. Yeah, so I guess that's the same person we talking about, right?
It's the same person, okay. And when she came out with it and she began to teach at the school, and teach teachers how to revisit history and to clear up a lot of the whitewashing. Because if you think about it, none of our doctors or our scholars were recognized. Even when you go to college, When I went my first year in college, and we started in psychology, Psych 101. We began to talk about all the great thinkers. You follow what I'm saying? And this is where it really hit home. Uh, and the only scholars, or the only people that we talked about, were European. Okay? So now my question was, how come we're not going to talk about any of the scholars or the historians or great thinkers that are of our nationality and race? So the professor politely told me, well, this is Greek philosophy. I said, yeah, because it's all we're talking about. It's Aristotle, Socrates, Alzheimer, all these Greeks. And to show you how we have been messed up with that education is I always ask several young people, I'll say, name me 5 famous scholars or philosophers. Okay? And it's easy for them to name all Greek because it's all you were taught. Because the first thing they do, Aristotle, Sigmund Freud, all those names that I gave. But then I say, now name me 5 black ones or African ones.
And then scholars in America today, we got Henry Louis Jr. Gate.
Yeah, now stop for a second. The reason I do this, the reason I stop him, is because we don't want to just deal with today. We want to deal with pre-Columbus.
So like 1875, we had people like Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson was an American historian, author, journalist, and founder of associations for the study of African American life and history.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the first scholars to study the history of the African, how you say this word, diaspora.
Enigmas?
diaspora, including African American history. So yeah, he was like one of the first.
Diaspora. The African diaspora.
Okay, and
people say it differently.
Yeah, he was from but yeah, back then. And then we got Mr. James H. Cone from 1938 to 2018.
See, once again, listen to what I'm saying, Guido. Pre-Columbus.
So we got to go back to the 1800s.
Yeah, before Columbus come over to this country. See, because after Columbus come over here, all of everybody was just whitewashed. Nobody had no knowledge according to them but them. And people don't know that when you talk about Egypt and the hieroglyphics and all that stuff, those are Greek words. The place wasn't even named Egypt. This is what they do. This is what they did when they went and conquered different places. They changed the names, everything to European. That's why you don't know yourself.
That's facts. Because I sure don't know none of this shit.
Yeah, we don't. And if you don't study it and seek it for yourself, you won't know it because it is not taught in the education system. They do not want to recognize. Just like, for instance, Dr. Sebi. They don't want to recognize him. That's not medicine. But you get one of them Greeks they bring over here, and he's got some scholarship or some degree from over there, and then he's the authority. But wait a minute. There's a guy by the name of Ivan Van Sertima. Ivan Van Sertima, he wrote Before Columbus. I believe that was the title of the book. But he was from the British Isles, and he went to all the big universities and stuff, and he got all these degrees. The man was even the botanist. Okay,
Before Columbus.
before Columbus, yeah, they were here or they came before Columbus. That was Ivan van Sertima, and he said that after he went to their universities and got all these degrees and became a botanist and all this to know what plants were where and everything, he said he found out that he had to go and relearn it all over again because a lot of it was misinformation. When he finally did his dissertation and stuff and got his doctorates again, he had correct information. People don't know. Now, how could you be? Here's another thing. How in the world could another country have all of your artifacts? You remember the grave Tomb Raiders and stuff? Remember that movie called Tomb Raiders?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they changed the name.
Let me pause this.
Yeah, we're back.
About the Great Tomb Raiders.
Yeah, the Tomb Raiders. Man, they did the movie, and in our society they changed the name. They call themselves archaeologists and stuff.
Right.
But you're going over in someone else's country,
And
digging
steal all
in
their stuff.
stealing all that shit, and then you take it over in your country and put it in a museum and charge people to come and see it. Okay. What is that? But
That's robbing the grave. Sound like to me.
You're grave robbers. But you want to give it a title, a sophisticated title, and justify it by saying we're preserving it. Hold on. That's what made the natives so upset. You come to our holy land and you desecrate it. Why do you think that the earth and the universe is fighting back?
Yeah, so I had put in Google search robbing the grave, and what I had got was, what is grave robbing called? Grave robbing, otherwise known as tomb raiding or body snatching, is the practice of stealing items or bodies soon after a person is buried. Grave robbers would commonly steal bodies from tombs and sell them to medical institutions to be analyzed by students. What the is going on here? Okay. Yeah. That part.
Yeah, and they take all the, you know how in Egypt, I mean, use that word because that's what everybody's familiar with, but it was named something else. The original people, it was called Kemet. They were Kemetic. Kemet. And their language wasn't hieroglyphics. That's Greek. Egypt is Greek. So when they went over there and robbed the graves, took all the gold and the kings out of their graves and stuff, and then they decided they want to take it to their country and put it in a museum and charge people to come and see it.
And that's where you get the archaeologists at, right?
Yeah, they go out there and they going out to test. They testing the same soil. They digging up this. They're trying to find these old artifacts and all that. Who gave you the authority to do all this? In somebody else's country. You're not even from there. So first off, it should have did what Shaka Zulu told his brother. You know, he killed his brother because his brother betrayed him. When the Europeans came over on a ship, the British, they wanted to dock. They wanted to come to the dock and get off and visit and blah, 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 and do trade. Man, so, Shaka Zulu told him, no, y'all don't let them own this land at all because they're going to bring destruction, chaos. Well, his brother betrayed him and left him on. So when they started killing him, he wouldn't kill his brother first.
Because his brother was a betrayer.
Exactly. He went against the order not to let them people come on our land because he knew what they were coming to do. They were coming to destroy, divide, and conquer. and control. And they should have just killed them, you know. If they wanted to get on, come on. No, do not. Don't let them. Because once they did, guess what? They did the same thing they did to the natives. Brought nothing but death, disease, and then pushed them all the way out of their home. And decide that, oh, we're going to make a reservation for them to live on now. Now, who gave you this authority? That's the question. Who gave you the authority to determine that these people are not worthy to be in their own environment? And then you have all these people talking about the border of Mexico. You know, Texas was Mexico. But they allowed the slavers to come in and take over. And when they took over, they pushed all of them down and put up a doggone fence and say, you can't come over here no more. Okay. That's crazy. How could you do that? And live with it. That's why they don't want that information to come out. The story about
Texas was annexed by the United States in 1845 and became the 28th state until 1836. Texas had been a part of Mexico, but in the year a group of settlers from the United States who lived in Mexican Texas declared independence.
Mm-hmm. And see, they did a whole bunch of wicked stuff. See, they was trying to buy Texas, and the Mexicans wouldn't sell it. They allowed them to live here, but they had an agreement that they couldn't bring slavery. Well, that's the only way these people could live. They were lazy, shiftless, no good people who depended upon slaves to do everything for them.
Yeah, because in Texas, Mexico owned it.
Yeah.
750,000 square miles. If all Texas had been seized since Mexico had not previously acknowledged the loss of any part of Texas, the total area ceded under this treaty comes to 915,000 square miles. So that's Mexico really had a lot of Texas.
Yeah, it was owned by them. And because they wouldn't sell it, you had them fools up there, what was his name? Bogart. I can't remember the other guy's name, but you know, they made these famous movies, and Davy Crockett, and it was another one. It was 3 of them. Okay, they got Sam Houston and Steve Austin. That's why these towns are named that now. They got them involved, and then they got the American troops to come and fight, because at first Santa Anna, I believe that's his name, he was in control of it, and they had the battle at the Alamo where they went and murked them. Okay, but when they went and killed all of them, the one guy
murked them is killed them, y'all.
Killed them, yes. He killed them, and they managed to get some letters out. One of them was writing letters to Sam Houston and Steve Austin. Houston, Texas, and Austin, Texas. Okay, they're named after them. But eventually they came and won the war, and they took Texas. Because Mexico wouldn't sell it to them. And they wouldn't sell it to them because they kept telling them they didn't want them to have slaves, but they kept having slaves. They kept bringing more and more slave owners and more slaves.
Damn,
And
I didn't know that Mexican land was eventually divided into all or parts of Colorado, New Mexico, California, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, and Wyoming.
yeah, see, you don't learn that history. That's what critical race theory was about. Telling the truth
Yeah.
about history. You know, not just whitewashing it and making all these old slave owners look like great men. You know what I'm saying? They weren't great men. They may have been great men to you, however, they were evil. And I'm not trying to hate on anyone, but the facts are there. Abraham Lincoln didn't want to let his slaves free. He freed the slaves of the enemy. He was only concerned about stopping the fighting amongst themselves. If you read the Emancipation Proclamation, it had nothing to do with equality of mankind. And you read the discourse between him and Frederick Douglass, you will see the arguments about his belief that we were inferior and our minds wasn't intelligent enough. Yeah, our old great Abraham Lincoln that wrote the Emancipation Proclamation. So they try to assert all goodness to him, but you read that proclamation and you understand that it has nothing to do with equality.
Yeah, we back, y'all. I apologize, for the noise in the background. People coming in and out the studio. It's all good. You know, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get these walls put together. But so we was talking about Abraham Lincoln and emancipation. I think, did I say that right?
Yes, the Emancipation, the Proclamation.
Okay.
When he freed the slaves of the opposing side.
That was in January 1st, 1863, when he's supposed to did that.
Well, actually, it took like 3 years, 2 to 3 years for the Emancipation Proclamation to actually go into effect. You know, they'll pass a law first, and then it takes them 2-3 years before it's actually implemented.
Yeah, it say January 1st, 1863, as the nation approached its third year of bloody civil war. The
Proclamation
declared that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states or in hereforward shall be free.
Right, in the rebellious states, not in the states that were already in the Union.
Right, so what states like that was in the Union?
The Northern. See, it was the fight against the North and the South. South was pissed off because the North was getting all the money and the South wasn't getting as much money, and they did most of the work. You follow me? They had the fields, the cotton, when cotton was king. Yeah, and when they started fighting, they were fighting because they wanted the equal share of the resources, and they wasn't getting it, so they rebelled. That's why they call them the rebel states, and they didn't want to join them unions. They didn't want to be in the union because the union wasn't giving them their fair share. So when they started fighting, he had a problem on his hands, and that tactic of freeing the slaves of those down the opposing side was a tactic to weaken that side in order for them to win. And you read the Emancipation Proclamation, it clearly states if it would better the Union. That's what that was his main focus. It wasn't about equality. You go back and read the discourse between him and Frederick Douglass, and you'll find out his whole perspective and view upon our people.
Proclamation.
Proclamation, yeah.
Proclamation, the public or official announcement of an important matter.
Yeah. You know, we have one. You remember the mayor in Wynn? I wrote one and he endorsed it and gave it to us. I gave it to the preacher. Yeah, it's for Butta. Butta and Strong Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, proclamation proclaiming that we had a viable solution to a lot of the ills that are going on in that city.
Oh man, that's nice.
Such as the vacant, dilapidated buildings and stuff. You know, we got them buildings tore down, cleaned up, free of charge to the people who owned it because they couldn't afford to.
Yeah, and if y'all listening to this podcast, y'all can subscribe to our podcast. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you can you know, add on a subscription basis and help us out so we can take Butta to the next level. You know, we trying to get trucks and all of that stuff, and you know, build up the land. You know, the fruits and the veggies are starting to grow. We just trying to keep everything going from St. Louis all the way to Texas, cities all in between, Midwest cities, all the way down south. We working, man. Building unity to teach another brother, young sisters. Y'all can tap in. Y'all make sure y'all follow our Spotify, subscribe to our YouTube page, follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We on all of it. All right, Steve, keep going.
Yeah. So we didn't really discuss much about Butta, but we're going to discuss a little bit about it now because it's important for the people to know what this is all about. And this podcast, man, is basically it's doing what Butta stands for: building unity to teach another. So we're not hating on no one. We just want to clarify things. We want accurate information. So we do research. We don't just come off the top of our head with any type of garbage.
Nah, because if you heard the button, if you heard the mouse clicking, I'm reading and I'm reading and coming up with definition. I mean, looking up stuff while he telling what he already know from his studies and everything. You know, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but he's way more smarter than me. And you guys, y'all make sure y'all listen to y'all elders. All right, Steven, keep going.
Yeah, and that's another topic that we want to deal with in the future, dealing with the elders, because there's a gap. A gap.
Yeah, we're gonna clear that right there at that because we don't want to even go into it because I know we are going to it. So yeah, so you can continue with the Butta thing.
Yeah, but man, you know, since it was a blessing to me that you told me. I remember when you told me I came to St. Louis, I think for about a month that time or whatever, and we were doing the video cast. Remember, and you were saying, man, I always wanted to have a nonprofit organization. We just never set one up. You know, already got the title and everything, and you gave it to me. And then I say, well, let's do it. And what did we do? We did it.
We did it, and we heard today, and you know, raise money. We didn't help folks. We didn't got people. Jail time sentence reduced. We give furniture away. We help elders. We move people for free. We clean out old people houses. We do a lot of stuff over at Butta, man. Building unity, teaching other brother, young sisters. And the next podcast, we're gonna try to give y'all these things like 4 or 5 times a week. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna need some days to break, but you know, hopefully you guys really like to tune in and listen. And hopefully we become friends and brothers and sisters from another, and we can all, you know, relate. And make sure y'all leave some comments and whatever, you know, just, you know, whatever. We all with it. We with it. Is there anything else you want to say, Steve?
Well, I'll say this: if they continue to listen, they tune in. We invite people to call, send us a message. Ask us a question. Just interact, because it's all about building.
Unity.
It's all about exactly.
To teach you. That's what it's about.
That's what it's about. We're not looking to get rich. We're not none of that. Okay, yeah, we like to have money now because money answers all things. But we know that statement, the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
Not the money itself, but the love of it. Because people will do strange things for some change.
Do something strange for a little bit of change. All right, y'all. We thank y'all. We thank y'all for tuning in, and give them the title and let them know what's the name of the podcast.
This is the inevitable return to Butta. Building unity
Peace.
to teach another.
There it is. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.